And his title is, holy crap, there's a lot of mosquitoes here. Mr. Erik, please.
So, fellow Toastmasters, there was a pastor, and he couldn't seem to get everyone to show up for Sunday and listen to him speak. So they were all off water skiing. And he said, okay, this Sunday, told his wife, I'm going to talk about the evils of water skiing. Because we need to get these people to pack this church. And she said, oh, if that's what you want. So she ends up getting sick. And he thinks about it and says, well, you probably catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So instead of telling them how evil it is that they're not showing up, I'm going to change my topic and talk about sex. That will pack them in. And this is in line with what you were talking about, the mode of the month, which is fertility. So his wife doesn't get the memo, and he gives the speech, and when his wife is better, she goes in and talks to one of the parishioners, and one of the parishioners' wives comes up and says, that was an amazing speech that your husband gave. It's incredible how much experience he has in this area. Where did he learn all of this stuff? And the pastor's wife, thinking that they're talking about water skiing, says, I have no idea. He's only tried it twice and he fell off the last 2 times. Well, I got to have a lot of fun down at the Colorado River. I belong to a ski club, which is the Convair Ski Club, and they normally meet down in Mission Bay on every Sunday morning at about 8 o'clock. I get up there and go down. And if you guys don't know what, or if you've never tried slalom skiing, it is tough. You can go out for 8 to 10 minutes and thoroughly wipe yourself out for basically the rest of the day. The neat thing about going over to the river is you don't just do it once. I got in 9 times on the river. 1 on Friday, 6 on Saturday, and 3 more on Sunday. I was beaten to a pulp. It's taken me the last couple of days just to try and recover. But it is fun. And I went there with Kiefer. It's always better to drive out there with somebody that you can talk to in the car, because it was a 2.5-hour trip all the way out there to get to, I think it was Winter Garden. Was it Winter Garden exit in Yuma?
Something like that, yeah.
And then we left
Winter
there.
Grove.
Winter Grove. And then we left on a 45-minute trip on the dirt to go to some place nobody ever finds, which is great if you don't like wakes. If you don't like other people messing around with you getting out there on your slalom ski. We found a place where we only saw like 4 or 5 boats the entire weekend. So this was a blast. It's just north of Martinez Lake, the Picacho State Park. And I'm a very visual person, so I always like to have maps. So this is Highway 8, as you can see, coming out here, and this is where we left to, where you drive up to Picacho, right here at Winter Haven. So this was the long trip all the way up. What's interesting is Martinez Lake's right about here, and on the way back, Kiefer couldn't stay the last day, so he ditched me, and I had to, well, I mean, he would have taken me home, but I found another person who would take me back, who took forever to get out of the place. We were the last ones to leave. We had to do all the work cleaning up after everybody else, which every now and then you get stuck doing. But he ended up losing one of his tires on the way back. So we get out to Winter Haven, and he's got a flat. And that was sort of neat, having to fix the flat. I haven't done that in a while. He was content to just go sit in the air conditioning and wait for AAA to show up. I said, no, I need to get home. My family needs me. So I was out there sweating, fixing a flat, got it done. All right, next. Now this is a blow-up of our campground. So Picacho State Recreation Area is down here, and we would leave from here. We had 2 boats. We'd go all the way up and around, turn around here, and come all the way back. And usually people could only last about half the trip. So it worked out great. You'd go out with 4 people in the boat. One person would go here, here, another person here, and here on the way back. And you had 2 good drivers. And this was a fabulous, fabulous time. And I know you're saying, okay, Eric, let's stop looking at the maps. Let's actually see something fun here. So this is the experience of slalom ski trip
These guys don't know that.
from beginning to end. This is me on a GoPro, putting on my slalom ski. Now everyone else puts their front foot and their back foot at the same time, but I get up differently than everybody else. I drag my back foot. So I only put my foot in the front boot. We use all the commands, clear, so we don't get chopped up in the prop. Good. Now the river is pretty murky, really. It's not a real clear water. But as you can see, there's hardly any chop to this water. I mean, this is really nicely wave-free. And you have all these lilies to either side that absorb any of the weight that you actually create. Now the really good people get good at making these turns as fast and as hard and as far out as possible. So when you go out here, you're sort of pushing yourself to try and be part of the group. And I can tell you that the group is very skilled. I mean, 80% of the guys who are out there are better than me in skiing and in wakeboarding. So I've got a ways to catch up. But I impressed them by buying this board. Because previously I was on the big fat beginner board, and this is more like the intermediate board. Just after about 6 minutes, you can hear that guy breathing really heavily in the background.
Let's get ready to do CPR.
So,
Lost the guy.
Looks like he's having a heart attack.
it's quite a workout, especially when you stay up. So that's Kiefer.
He's catching some.
And I brought my gear so I can pass it around. What's interesting is everyone has their own gear and they get really strange about sharing it. This is mine, and if you want to use it, you have to ask permission because you might ruin my rope. I don't know how, but that's like the way they act. So I'll pass this around and bring my own rope, and they have it set up so they know exactly how long it is. And then here's another thing, you have to have your own set of gloves. You would never even think about asking somebody else to use their gloves. It is a big deal if you even use their vest. They actually had to buy vests for people who didn't bring them, and I spent the entire weekend asking where the club vest was so that I could wear that instead of asking somebody else to use their. No one likes to put on a wet vest, I mean, seriously. Let me pass those around. And then here is the fun part. I got this for Christmas as a Christmas present, and you can see that it's actually curved in the back to have this channel, which really helps direct the water. And one of the things that these advanced skis have is they have like a little hydrofoil here, which gets it a little bit further out of the water, decreases the drag, and makes it a little bit easier to turn. And this is just all for decorative effect, but I had the fanciest doohickey of all of them. I really love this thing. It's supposed to help you to have this fin set in exactly as deep and as shallow as you want. But I think it's more just to impress people with the cool little doohickey at the end. So I'll go ahead and pass this around. You guys can take a look at this. Really? You don't want me to pass it around? Okay. I'll put it up here for you to gaze upon lovingly while I go and continue the rest of my story. Let's hope it doesn't fall over. I might get in trouble with the building manager. Okay, so that was slalom skiing. And there's also people who really know what they're doing who are wakeboarding. And so I will show you what that looks like. That's me preening like a peacock.
What could possibly go wrong?
Good. I thought maybe you wanted some more. Now the boat is set up for slalom skiing, so there's not much of a do with my lack of skill. Totally has to do with the weight. Now here's where I start trying to impress whoever's on the boat. That's a 360. I think I might hit a third one in a row here. Let's see. Suspense. Oh, yeah, I got it.
Turn the bottom around there,
It is supposed to be a workout, Jeff. It's not just all about showing off to the girls. Well, most of the time Kiefer's in there, but sometimes we get some hotties. Not that I would notice. But these guys are like really good. They do this all the time. And to prove how good they are, let me show you somebody who's far better than me, and it's going to be hard to see this, but this guy is barefoot skiing.
Wow.
That is amazing. He's no board.
This is at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Now, he forgot his wetsuit. He has a wetsuit that has like an iron contraption down here, so if he falls, he can still bear children. But he forgot it. So he's doing this with no wetsuit. If he falls at 45 miles per hour, he's going to be hurting.
Was that a wipe out?
No, it was
No, that was on
release.
purpose. He was able to slow down enough not to hurt himself. So that was pretty impressive. Now, one of the things that we did when we weren't out there actually having fun on the water is we were camping. So we had a nice little campground, and they have a solar, this is their claim to fame, they have a solar-powered shower. They actually have a hot water shower in the middle of the camp, out in the middle of nowhere. And, well, while we were there, for some reason, Kiefer had to go back and work on Sunday. And he told everybody that his boss told him he had to leave. So everyone was giving me the thumbs down and looking at me like I was a horrible person.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my fault. But if that's not worse enough, this woman comes up who is probably about 6 feet tall. She looks like a former supermodel. She's wearing a bikini. And she's saying, "Oh, I just don't know what to do. Me and my 18-year-old daughter over there are just stranded with nothing to do tonight." And Kiefer says, "Oh, really?" And she says, "Yeah, we just don't know. Maybe we're going to drink a lot, and who knows, maybe we can come visit you at your camp. By the way, what camp number are you at?" And I'm thinking really fast, it's like, 17. And Kiefer says, "No, it's 27, Erik." And so Kiefer says, "Oh, but I just remembered I have to leave you all alone with no chaperone, Erik." And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, now how do I handle this? Because here's this divorcee, bikini-clad, former supermodel who's going to get drunk and come scoping me out at camp. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a Toastmaster. I can handle this. I have to prepare my speech. I have to get ready to what I'm going to say if she shows up. And so I practiced the whole afternoons, and I was going to say, okay, hey, I'm glad you showed up here, and we could really have a fun time if we wanted to for a couple minutes. In fact, I'm so exhausted, it may actually take me 20 minutes to get it up. But then, I would be regretting it the rest of my life and the damage I've done to my kids, my family, my place in the afterlife. So thanks, but I think, no thanks, I just can't do it. So I had the speech all prepared, and then she didn't show. Thank God she didn't show. Of course, she might have been turned off by hearing me snoring at about 9 o'clock at night, but whatever the reason. But for those of you who are unattached, if you are interested in going to the river and being surrounded by these beautiful bikini-clad, horny, drunk, former beauties, is still beauties. Former models, well, maybe the river is right for you. Fellow Toastmasters.